Excellent. Uh, welcome to today's Monday morning live. Okay, I'll take that again. Welcome to today's Monday morning live. And as always, every Monday is a life transforming Monday. I know that many people say that Mondays are bad, but the reason why we record this content every Monday morning is to ensure that all your Monday mornings are inspirational, they are transformational, and they lead you to getting the things that you actually want in life. So, the last couple of Mondays, we have been talking about the bigger subject of personal branding. We started with how do you build an authentic personal brand that reflects who you truly are. And now, yes, and now we have been focusing on the specific aspects that you require to build this personal brand. So that's all about subjects such as last week's topic, which is quite powerful, where we were talking about being a people pleaser. Actually, the last 2 weeks we talked about being a people pleaser. How do you stop being a people pleaser? Before that, we were talking about several other aspects as well that are essential in helping you really come up with a really powerful personal brand. But you can't if you don't address those things effectively. Today, we are talking about confidence. Like, are there things in your life that you wish you were able to do, but you have never found the confidence? Tough conversations could be standing in front of people, like learning how to public speak, learning how to record your content online, learning how to pretty much package yourself and sell yourself in front of people. So, what we are talking about today is a very important subject that has to do with finding the confidence to do the things that you look at as tough at this point in time. The reason why I'm putting it that way is because things are not always going to be tough. Once you learn how to do certain things, then they get into the scope of things that you are actually confident doing, whereas that's not what you are able to do before. My name is Dennis Mboro. I am the founder of DSM Advisory and Consulting, where we help entrepreneurs with unique ideas, package them, and articulate them for the market or to get customers. And also, we talk about this subject. And of course, personal branding is all about packaging yourself. So that's how that ties into that. Now, the whole idea of confidence is, let me say, okay, how we can start looking at this idea of confidence is getting a definition of what this confidence actually is. Okay, so confidence is having belief and trust in your abilities to do a certain thing. So there are two things that can be quite difficult. So what if you don't know what your abilities are, and what if you are not confident in your abilities to do a certain thing? Because most of the time, that is where the issue comes. There is a tough thing that you need to do, but you are not confident in your ability to do it, maybe because you don't know whether you are able to, or if it is something that you can be able to overcome. A couple of years back, one of the things that I had always desired to do is to record my content. Like, people used to tell me, "There, you have very nice things that you say. Why don't you, do you have a YouTube channel or something? Have you ever written a book? Why don't you record all this content and put it online? Because it can be quite beneficial to a lot of people." But then, of course, the response usually was, "Yeah, brilliant idea." But at the back of my head, I was always like, I don't even know how to speak to a camera. Like right now, I'm just speaking to a camera. I don't have an audience. I don't know how to work with this recording software, because of course there is some software that I'm using for this purpose of putting my content out there. I don't know how to articulate my thoughts in a way that they will make sense to people if I'm not getting like direct feedback from people, from looking at guys and seeing that, yeah, they're getting exactly what I'm saying. So because of that, I really took a long time before I got to the point where I felt like I could record and put out my own content. Actually, I started out by recording content for others and putting out other people's content. And that somehow made me feel important because I was doing it, though I wasn't really putting my ideas out there. Incidentally, I have been meeting people who are exactly in the same place where they have been told that they have something. You have something, and I think more people need to know about it. But they don't feel confident enough to put it out there. And this video is exactly for guys like that. The other category of people is people who have been told that, you are very good at a certain thing, but for some reason, you're not able to muster up the confidence to really do it in front of an audience or to really implement what it is that you've been told that you're good at. Yeah, that's the other category of people that I believe this is going to help, because it really looks as though it is something that is difficult. Now, if you don't know what your abilities are, or rather you have an idea of what your abilities are, but you don't know whether this is something that you are able to do, normally the issue is how you judge success. I have discovered that you don't always judge success the same way at all points of your journey. Like when you're trying to learn something new, you don't look at success as being an expert in the thing. You look at success according to the milestones that lead you to becoming an expert at that specific thing. If you're learning a new language, you cannot judge success on the first day based on how fluent you are in speaking. By the way, if you're learning a new language, you're not going to be able even to hear what people have to say or what people are saying in the first couple of months. It can be difficult unless you are totally immersed in that culture. It can be very difficult for you to do that. So it is impossible for you to measure yourself saying that I went out to learn the language today and tomorrow. How come I'm not able to speak? Of course, it sounds ridiculous. And normally that is how we treat ourselves when it comes to hard things. We don't judge ourselves based on the level we are at while we are learning the hard thing, but we look at how it looks like after we have learned that hard thing. And the distance that we perceive to be from where we are to where we believe we are supposed to be is normally the biggest barrier to actually taking the initiative to do the hard thing. This talks about the idea of looking at results or the process. And the funny thing is this: most of us, or if not all of us, we look at the result all the time. We always look at the result, but we never look at the process. But at the back of our minds, based on even the education that we have received, we know that it is the process that leads to the result, but we look at the result and not the process. So if you want to fix the result, you have to fix the process first. And it is important, actually I've been saying this so much, it is very important to look at the process that leads to the result, not the result and then judging yourself based on the result, totally disregarding like what the process that leads to the result is. I hope we are together on that. So getting the confidence to do something is breaking down the thing to the process that is going to lead to the result. Then the tasks that are involved in the process that lead to the result. Then from there, celebrating how well you are implementing the subtasks that contribute to the process that lead to the result. When you look at things like that, it becomes easier to identify where in the process you need the most work to get the best result, maybe in the shortest period of time. Let's look at a case example of something that people fear to do. Let's look at public speaking. What is required, like a result, is delivering a wonderful presentation in front of people, like a presentation that moves guys, where they really get what the gist of the message is, and they end up with the call to action that you had put them. So maybe if you are trying to raise money, or you are trying to get their attention, or whichever result that you are looking out for, that is the exact result that you get. So when you look at that outcome, and then you're told it's time for you to give the presentation, you stand in front of people without knowing the process that is supposed to lead to that result. And then when you don't get the result, you say that you're not a good public speaker. See, that is not the best way to look at it. But anyway, we are looking at this as an example. So what do you need to do? So the first thing when it comes to public speaking is like getting your message to fasting. And where do you need to be when you're getting your message together? You need to be in a room, maybe just someplace by yourself, or maybe brainstorming. Yeah, or maybe brainstorming with a couple of people. Okay, let me take that again. So where do you need to be? Yeah, where do you need to be when you are Okay, so where do you need to be when you're recording this content? You just need to be in a room thinking about the kind of message that you'd like to put out there, introspecting and trying to get like, what message am I trying to put out there? So what if you're struggling to get together this message? That means that you need to do research to find out like, what kind of ideas can you put in front of people, kind of to try and get like external validation to show that this is an important idea and this is how it has been articulated by others. So what is that going to do? It's going to give you ideas of how you can present the information and the kind of information that you can present in front of people. So out of that brainstorming phase, you'll have come up with a solid, concrete idea of what you're going to put in front of people. So once you've gotten the idea, the next thing is structuring it. Like, how am I going to present this idea in front of people? Then there, you're still alone. You just go, you search online, or maybe you speak to guys who you know speak in front of people and find out about different techniques of delivering information. So there is storytelling, there is talking about numbers like 5 things or 4 things. There are various techniques that are involved there. And then you see, like when you're speaking to people naturally, what techniques do you usually use? And you choose a technique based on that. So that part is done. Then from there is getting to see like, how are you going to present it in front of people? So that's all about trying it out. So where do you need to be to try this out? You need to be in front of a mirror, just like, or maybe in front of a camera and seeing how you do it and listen to the things that you are not able to get right, and then start working on those things. Then from there, you can get a small audience of people that you can present to. Doesn't matter if it is your family or just a couple of friends who can listen to it for a couple of minutes, and they can tell you and they can give you some kind of pointers of things that you can do. So the big day comes, you have been preparing for all this time, and I can tell you, even if the presentation is not going to be perfect, you are going to do a much better job focusing on the process than just looking at the end result. That is how it looks like, and that is how you pretty much get the confidence to do something tough. The issue that people usually have, or the biggest block that you need to overcome, is this thought that you need to have the confidence to do something for you to do it. Having confidence is quite limiting because you're only going to look at what is within your scope. But knowing that confidence is something that you can build, confidence is something that you can find, confidence is something that is ever expanding, then having that kind of mindset is going to help you always see ways of finding confidence if you do not have confidence to do something specific. And sometimes you can even ask for help from guys who are experts at the thing, and they can help you do a much better job than what you would have done just worrying about the result, judging yourself based on the result without necessarily like focusing or following the process. And all these processes are documented, they're out there, they're online, so it's something that you can be able to do. So that was an example of public speaking, but the same thing applies to every other area that you would like to build confidence in. And the last thing that I'm going to mention is that it is important to always put yourself in situations where you are building confidence. Because as your life continues, you are constantly going to find yourself in situations where you are going to need to have confidence without necessarily having had experience. And that is normally what leads to growth. So if you have a culture, if you have a habit of constantly putting yourself in situations where you have to find confidence to do things, then that is going to make it easier for you to take opportunities in areas that you may not necessarily feel qualified for, but are totally in alignment with what you are supposed to pursue. And this ties to personal branding, because most of the time when you start working on your personal brand, you're going to find yourself in situations where you've been called to do a presentation in front of an audience that you have never spoken to before, or your ideas are going to be requested about something that you may have an idea of, but maybe have not like 100% practiced before. And the funny thing is that how you handle that situation is going to determine whether you're going to get another opportunity. And if you do not take that opportunity, the next opportunity is going to ask you whether you have experience in those kind of opportunities. So it's important for you to continue building that culture of putting yourself in situations where you have to find confidence, where you have to build confidence, even after you build confidence in a certain specific area or scope. Now, next month, actually, I plan to launch a confidence challenge. I'm still figuring out the modalities or the dynamics of it. There is a private Facebook group, so if you're interested, you can send an inbox, or you can just write a comment if it's on YouTube. On Facebook, you can send an inbox, or on LinkedIn, because that's where this content is going to be. Then we can work on building your confidence just through understanding the 12 barriers or the 12 keys to building your confidence, and essentially having a place that you can report and a supportive community. Even if it's just I will be supporting you to build your confidence for the next 90 days, because we are heading into the second quarter of the year, and I would like to ensure that confidence does not become the barrier to you achieving what you wanted to achieve this year. Thank you very much for taking your time to listen to this Monday morning live. Take everything that I have said, process it, and start looking at things from a process perspective, not just from an end result perspective. And that way you're going to be able to build confidence. I wish you a wonderful Monday and wonderful rest of the week. Until next time, this has been Dennis Mboro, and sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for content that is going to help you to grow, of course, to stay up to date with what we are putting out there. And most importantly, if you interact with a subject that is very useful even to somebody, please share this content with them. I may not be able to meet them in person, but listening to these ideas may be useful and can help them navigate through the period of life that they are handling. Thank you again, and until next time, God bless you and keep building confidence.